Welcome to Neurofield 64. My name is Dr. Nicholas Douglas, and I am the CEO and co-founder of Neurofield Incorporated. Today I'm going to take you through the clinical applications of tDCS and tACS. tDCS stands for transcranial direct current stimulation, tACS, transcranial alternating current stimulation. Both are forms of what's called cranial electric stimulation. These are very effective modalities of treatment, and they're extremely safe to utilize. And that should be the first question that you ask with any stimulator that you actually attach to somebody, and make sure that they're actually within the safety limits. So let's talk about that. Safety of these units is key. When you look at the literature and what's out there, there's a number of safety studies, and one of the safety studies that I have found to be a good one is a meta-analysis that was done in 2016. All these authors here put together data, and we're able to show that tDCS was extremely safe as long as you adhere to the safety criteria, which is not to give the stimulation longer than 40 minutes, less than 4 milliamps, and not to increase the heat of the brain by more than 7.2 C. They were able to prove that there was no serious adverse side effects in over 1,000 patients given roughly 33,200 sessions. That was in 2016. There's a 2019 safety study that was recently released that also confirms the finding of the 2016 study. This one, I believe, looked at over 140 studies citing different ways in which tDCS was applied to people with a wide variety of diagnoses, showing no serious adverse side effects as a result of using this modality. So that's a very encouraging result that's come out through the literature. Now, tDCS is very simple in terms of its design. It's been around for quite some time. It's been utilized in Europe since the 1990s and has migrated to different countries over the years. There's a wide set of studies that have been conducted on tDCS showing the effectiveness of it. When you look at it with tDCS, you have an anode and a cathode, and the anode is streaming electrons to the cathode. And when you look at it from a cellular level, a nodal stimulation gives rise to excitability. So the membrane potential is actually increased, increasing the likelihood of firing of that cell or cells. Cathodial stimulation is inhibitory, so basically it decreases the excitability of the membrane potential, making it less likely to fire. What has also been found is that blood flow between the anode and the cathode increases significantly. So when you stimulate cells, those cells call for resources, and those resources are going to be increased blood flow, which means you're going to get capillary dilation, increased blood flow, more oxygen to the region which you're stimulating. And this has been shown in DC stimulation, and more than likely the exact same thing is going to be seen in AC stimulation. The mechanism of action that has been proposed for DC stimulation is that at the anodal stimulation point, which is the green lightning bolt here, what you see is a decrease in glutamate. So the brain is going to suck up all the glutamate at the anodal site, and at the cathodal site, which is the red lightning bolt here, you're going to get an increase of GABA. So it kicks out a whole bunch of GABA. At the anodal site, it's going to start a process in which the brain will start to have surges of calcium ion and sodium ions in the astrocytes. This is going to give rise to a increased neuroplasticity or increased rewiring of the brain. And what's really fascinating, the MRI literature suggests that this surge of calcium and sodium ions begins right at the site of stimulation, but then cascades globally throughout the brain, giving rise to a kind of like a whole system rewiring essentially. When the glia fire in this way, they become more susceptible to entrainment essentially. So you can increase entrainment capabilities by giving DC stimulation first. It also is theorized that DC stimulation, if you start this process up, you can not only increase the neuroplasticity, but you can start to help the brain to reformulate or kind of put together a new way of learning how to do things, essentially movement, speech, math, reading. All these things can be paired with this kind of stimulation. So DC has a lot of things that can be done with it. The other thing about DC that's really fascinating is the fact that you do get GABA at the cathodal site, which is really relaxing. So people that have sleep issues or anxiety issues, the increased GABA can help to be a very calming effect when they receive DC stimulation. Now, the same can be said about alternating current stimulation, but alternating current really is a form of entrainment with the brain. So by giving AC stimulation, you're going to drive the brain at specific speeds. So if I was to go into neurofield 64 here, basically you want to think in terms of the corollary deficit. So if you conduct an EEG and do your analysis and you determine that a person doesn't have a specific amplitude of delta, for instance, you could actually select delta from the list here, 1 to 4 HD, load it, and then save it, and then give that delta over the regions where it is believed that there's a deficiency in delta. Same can be said about theta, alpha, beta 1, beta 2, combinations of that. There's a number of protocols in the system that are all set up to do this. When you see protocols here that start with 1 to 4 HD, the HD stands for high definition. So basically, it'll go from 1, 1.1, 1.2, 1.3 to 4, and then stop. If you see a protocol that says 1 to 4 HD rocking, that means the protocol oscillates from 1, 1.1, 1.2, all the way to 4, and then back down in the same increments all the way back down to 1. We basically cover all the frequency bands that you may be interested in stimulating for the most part. However, there are a number of protocols in this system that will do a lot of variety of things, and all of which have been utilized successfully. Protocols that aren't utilized successfully are removed from the system. So there's a lot of things that you can actually choose from here. All right. Now, DC stimulation is been used in the literature for, like I said, for years. And there's a website that I like to steer people to if they're interested in just kind of getting some real basic profiles for DC. And this is called tDCS.com. tDCS.com. And the red site on each one of these heads here is the anode or the plus, and the black is the cathode. So you'll see here in the corner here for DARPA learning, accelerated learning, F10, which is going to be on this right side of the head, and then the left shoulder. Depression, anxiety, this is a standard protocol for depression and anxiety, F3 anode, FP2 cathode. I've also seen it F3 and anode and F8, excuse me, cathode. Chronic pain, C4 to FP1. Reduce addictive cravings, F3 to F4, F4 to F3. Improve motor skills, C4, and I can't see where the anode is on this one, but I would expect it to be at C3. Improve sight, which would be T4. So you can, again, you can see these different kinds of possibilities here, all of which have been validated through the research. And like I said, there's a big amount of research out there covering tDCS. So with that said, you have some options in terms of how you can actually choose this stuff. All right. Have a great day, folks.